The fifth part is called Lotus-eyed Krishna, Longing for Love. This chapter begins with Krishna sending the friend to Radha with his confessions, so that she may understand how he feels in this painful situation. On the surface of the story, the friend conveys how much Krishna is suffering without Radha, in the same way that she is tormented by things that should give her joy, because she feels separated from her beloved. In the same way, her lover feels when he is separated from her. This event contains subtle but important philosophical concepts. Building on the previous chapter's ideas of mental activity, the focus of this chapter is dihi, meaning reflection and understanding. How do we understand what is going on with ourselves and with our surroundings? How do we know what is real and what is not? The epistemology, or the way to know what we know, of Indian systematic learning, or Vidya, is what this chapter delves into. If the friend represents the consciousness of a person, then the conveying of the message is how a person can be persuaded by use of understanding. Understanding is initiated by a correspondence between words, or vak, and what is present, or vidyamana. Words contain within them the power to connect. Just as words connect with each other, words connect us to the undisputed presence of what is real. Just as when there is a variation of themes, a person understands better through many examples that mean the same thing, words can unlock understanding, and this is caused by repetition. Words are associated with meaning because it is the Supreme Being who associated meaning with words. So they are His words that established power and relationships between things. It is His words that revealed the relationship between what is and what is known. I'll stay here. You go to Radha. Appease her with my words and bring her to me. Commanded by Madhu's foe, her friend went to repeat his words to Radha. This chapter builds on the concept of the mind in Hinduism, which is divided into 4 parts, as we said in a previous video: the ego, the intellect, the will, and the memory. Here specifically, Jayadeva explores the intellect. There is a conversation between the soul and the mind, using words and concepts to make the soul understand what is happening outside and inside the body and the soul. At first, this conversation is unheard because of fear. In this state of being, a person only reacts from instinct. When he is cold, he seeks warmth. When she is in danger, she seeks safety. This fear doesn't allow the deeper conversation of the mind to be heard because it is covered by uncertainty. This is manifested as the darkness of night. The intellect, at the most basic level, at its lowest resonance, has to use discernment to anticipate what comes next. This discernment, or Vijnana, is what can be known as intuition. A person is urged on by intuition to recognize what has presence, what is there, what is hidden behind something else, and how to understand what is going on. Once we slowly approach something that is uncertain, it becomes part of our memory, and because it repeats itself in cycles, we recognize the pattern and we begin to understand. This is the beginning of the journey, for the individual soul has to go through the many experiences that existence is made up of and to discover the hidden reality, the Supreme Being. As you cast your frightened glance on the dark path, as you stop at every tree, measuring your steps slowly, as you secretly move with love surging through your limbs, Krishna is watching you, Radha. Let him celebrate your coming. Intuition leads to pattern recognition. If this happens, then that follows. Each situation allows another to follow. There is causality that the mind uses to establish knowledge, or Jnana. This knowledge builds on itself, so that many things can be known and understood from basic things that have already been understood. Sandalwood mountain winds blow, spreading passion. Flowers bloom in profusion, tearing deserted lovers' hearts. Intuition drives the soul to seek connection because unconsciously it knows that it belongs somewhere greater than itself. Connection is the deepest yearning. This is what is understood by having a desire for something, because desire is the mechanism that connects what is needed or wanted. This is why people form groups, nations, and countries. The more the soul seeks connection, the more it feels connected. And the more it feels connected, the more it seeks the bliss of unification. Poet Jayadeva sings to describe Krishna's desolation. When your heart feels his strong desire, Hari will rise to favor you. What awaits at the end of intuition and discernment is mutual attraction and affection. It is not only the soul that needs to love, but the soul needs to be loved too. This reciprocity makes the soul feel that it is being dignified, not humiliated by the devotion. Madhava still waits for you in love's most sacred thicket, where you perfected love together. This concept of reciprocity of grace is how faith in Hinduism is understood. Shraddha, meaning to direct one's mind towards something, is based on what is observable, on experience, on what has already happened before, and will undoubtedly happen again. It is by divine grace, or Kripa, that a person is guided through intuition to approach the divine step by step. By receiving grace, we must then return it. Krishna has taken the first step. It is up to the individual soul to begin his journey towards Krishna. While Jayadeva sings his enticing song to worship Hari, bow to Hari. He loves your favor. His heart is joyful and gentle. In woods on the wind-swept Yamuna bank, Krishna waits in wildflower garlands. Intuition lets a person see the signs that it is time to go forward. It is like a voice that tells the soul that it needs to move, that it needs to change. And it is the mind that must understand this, to convince the soul to let go and to listen to what needs to be done. He ventures in secret to savor your passion, dressed for love's delight. Radha, don't let full hips idle. Follow the Lord of your heart. The journey starts narrow and scary, but eventually the path widens and the soul is urged to go faster and faster. From slow steps in uncertainty to running with eagerness in what is absolutely certain. This acceleration of the journey allows a person to completely open themselves up and receive divine grace and bliss fully. This is known as Bhakti, or devotion. It is to completely open up to the presence of the divine with our mind, body, and soul. Loosen your clothes, untie your belt, open your loins. Radha, your gift of delight is like treasure in a bed of vines. What is holding the soul back is fear, represented by the night. But is the darkness something to be afraid of? Is there something we didn't understand about the darkness? Haven't we experienced it before? Isn't it the best situation for a shy soul to pursue what she desires? Shame is part of the mind's discernment. Instinct tries to prevent harm, so shame is there to prevent humiliation. We allow shame to speak its warning, we hear its voice, and we bring it with us as we learn to let go. Eventually, even the voice of shame is silenced because there is nothing to fear when approaching the divine being. With this understanding, the darkness has now become a sacred place where what is hidden can be approached at one's own pace. Two lovers meeting in darkness embrace and kiss, and claws desire rises to dizzying heights of love. When familiar voices reveal that they ventured into the dark to betray each other, the mood is mixed with shame.